the disqualification of oneself for wisdom, the art of disqualifying yourself for wisdom. How does that happen? Well, in a society that leans towards instant gratification, I gotta have it now, me, whether it's men buying shoes or buying cars, get that fresh whip, or girls wanting those bags or purses, a lot of people discount themselves or they disqualify themselves for wisdom. If you look at the text of scriptures, you see that the prophets that were very powerful, there was an element of suffering to their lives. Moses was raised in a palace, surrounded by royalty. Yet there was an element to his life, not just a tiny element, but a massive chapter of his life where he was in the wilderness. The wilderness and the palace were vastly different. We think about wilderness and everything, so we don't think about the fact that there's snakes, wild animals, lack of water, you know. So in the adaptation, the transitioning from a palace situation to that. But we know that Moses was wise, was given wisdom. Wisdom is not just a free pass to somebody. One can disqualify themselves when they're handed a difficult situation. They're handed a moment where they get to suffer and they reject it. It's almost like, let me use a very ugly example. A pretty girl, she has an opportunity to date a man, be courted by a man who will be a good man to her. And this man, in about maybe 15 years' time, is going to do very well for himself. But she don't like that. That's not good enough for her. So she goes to Dubai, and the things that happen in Dubai happen to her. Party, she do that because she gotta have it now. That girl disqualified herself for wisdom because if she was with that man that she was supposed to be with and did time with him, she will retire a queen. In her older years, the acquiring of wealth came through natural means. But she disqualified herself for wisdom because she went for the quick routes, because she didn't want to endure the hardship that's given to everybody, it's presented to everybody for them to gain that which is required. So people disqualify themselves for that wisdom. A lot of men lean towards a lifestyle, especially rappers, chains. You get sold a deal. The devil shows up with a contract saying, I know you're struggling trying to get this music out, but tomorrow we can get your name in the lights. All you gotta do is sign right here. And because they're so thirsty, they disqualify themselves for wisdom. Wisdom is actionable. Wisdom does produce wealth, but wisdom does require enduring of hard times. And a lot of people do not want to deal with hard times. And a lot of this fake prosperity pastors will lie to you that you can have it now. Just believe, have faith. Sometimes difficult times are sent to us for a purpose, for a reason. And when we try to get out of them artificially, in a synthetic manner, Dubai or, you know, rituals, fraternities that give us doors to places, we get out of them superficially. We negate the power to gain wisdom. You can meet a poor man who don't have material gains, but he got wisdom, and the Most High is with him. Prophets like Elijah, Elisha, wise. Did they have gold bars stacked under the bed? No, they did not. But they could shut down the whole city with the miracles that they produced. The miracles that was produced through them because they endured the difficult times. A lot of men are so given to going for the baddie because I gotta have it. My lust is talking to me. My lust is trying to get me to do things. But really, what's needed is to stay away, to be celibate for a minute, to abstain. Abstinence is a virtue to a man. Clear headedness. You don't need to be up on the town trying to holler at every shoulder. Every broad you gotta talk to. Every chick that you see on Instagram, you gotta holler at her in her DMs, you gotta hit her up. We lose the capacity for wisdom. There's not a lot of wise men. There's a lot of people pretending to be wise. They out there, They wear nice suit and acting the part and say certain things, but there's a lack of wisdom because people are being fictitious and pretentious. We will not need to be emancipated from every bit of suffering just so that we can feel good about ourselves. Sometimes the suffering is ordained for a purpose that was sent to you to gain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And wisdom is actionable. It's demonstrative. Those that are wise, they don't just get there and say some nice, sweet things like R&B singers. Those that are wise will show. Solomon's kingdom was full of wisdom, and it showed also. It translated into bars of gold and silver. I'm not saying chase. The most I know is when you're being fake with it. But there's a lot of men that have negated they've desired to be emancipated from the suffering, and they've taken their route, and now they lack wisdom. There's a lot of ladies that wanted a certain lifestyle that have gone with men that shouldn't have, laid up with men in the name of I can't suffer, I'm too beautiful, not knowing that there was a certain somebody who was he was projected by the Most High to be king like in wealth. But the woman, she looked over him. It's too corny. No, I can't deal with him. And then years after, she's damaged her life, taking that car ride, crashed in every corner, hit the street light. And then she says, "Oh, I always liked you. I always loved you." You negated the power, the capacity for wisdom. You disqualified yourself. And a lot of us are disqualifying ourselves for wisdom because this life is composed of some suffering. You may not like the word suffering or hard times, but nothing is ever refined in comfort, in peace and joy. You want to know how good a fighter you are when you've been in fights. You want to know how secure your kingdom is when the enemy attacks you and you have to fight back. That's how you know you're good. You can't just, have drills, but you've never been in the real war zone. And a lot of people, men and women, disqualify themselves for wisdom because they're not. Older women are not qualifying themselves for wisdom because they don't want to sit down at home. They can't handle it. The feet are too itchy. They got to be in the club competing with the young people. Brothers are enticed by a certain culture and lifestyle. They go buy cars they can't afford instead of sitting still without that vehicle. Sit down with that income, that basic income, because you got a good idea. Just work on it slowly, but you want that lifestyle. So now wisdom escapes you. But because you know it's in you to desire to be, so now you're faking it. People disqualify themselves from wisdom because they are not reading the word. And if they read it, they're just reading to speak, not to understand and internalize it and culturalize, so it becomes your day-to-day lifestyle. People are fake with it. And a lot of pastors sometimes, they're charismatic, but they lack wisdom because their life doesn't reflect discipline. Speaking of discipline, a lot of people are very undisciplined, especially sexual discipline. They go around laying that up with anybody, having no goal, no, and they're going with any wave of doctrine, they're on it, reactive to everything, arguing online. Their lives go nowhere. Disqualify themselves from wisdom. When the Most High gives you wisdom, your life is going to reflect it. And you don't have to be pushing like you dragging this cart without wheels on it. It don't need to be that hard. I'm not saying hard times won't come. They're going to come. But you have to deal with it with the mindset that, hey, this is for a purpose. Not trying to escape it through drugs, liquor. I drink. Don't get it wrong. But a lot of men be like, okay, I got a shorty, I got hit up on, I need to get this out of my system. And ladies can't sit down. As soon as one relationship is about to end, sometimes they end in that relationship. They're already in the next one. They're not reflecting on their wrongs. Nobody is healing. So many ladies claim to be on a healing journey, but so many broken women you run into. People have disqualified themselves from wisdom because they don't want to do what's necessary for wisdom to germinate and wisdom to be nurtured in their hearts. The Most High gives and there's the wisdom of the word that also does occur on the same premise if you allow things to transpire. But the Most High will give knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to people that are willing to go with it. The Messiah was in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, yet he had all the power in the world. I don't know if y'all hear me, but this life, all the luxury, the external luxury is not what it is. You look at Chris Brown, he's got all those girls, but that man, you could tell there's something going on that he ain't happy with. You hear the rappers, the P. Diddy's, they or billionaires, the Jay-Z's, but their lives are not a reflection of good, wise life. A wise life is a calm life. And part of the journey is to suffer sometimes. I've said enough. Peace, love, and blessings.